Level 1. The intern. You don't have a desk yet. You have a loaner laptop, a temporary badge, and a lanyard that is a different color from everyone else's. The color means something. Everyone in the building knows what it means. You learn this on your first day when a senior engineer looks at your chest, not your face, and keeps walking. Your job is to exist usefully. You take tickets from the bottom of the backlog. Small things. A bug that's been sitting there for 3 months because nobody cared enough to fix it. You fix it. You submit your first pull request. You wait. The CI pipeline runs. You refresh the page every 4 minutes. Your mentor approves it the next morning with one comment. Looks good, minor in it. You don't know what the unite means. You fix it anyway. You eat lunch at your desk because you don't know where the good spots are yet. You laugh at jokes you don't fully understand. You are being watched. You don't know by whom. Week 10, you present your intern project. The room nods. Someone asks a question you weren't ready for. You answer halfway and stop. 3 days later, HR emails you. Return offer. You exhale for the first time since June. You say yes before you finish reading. Level 2. The new hire. Your badge is the same color as everyone else's now. Nobody looks at your chest when you walk in. That felt like the finish line. It wasn't. The code base is enormous. There is internal documentation for the internal documentation. Your onboarding buddy is an L4 who has 3 projects due this week and answers your Slack messages in 4-hour windows. You learn to ask fewer questions. You learn to find the answers yourself and then ask if you got it right. This is called initiative. It is also called survival. You take tickets. You ship features. Small ones. Features that will never appear in a keynote. You receive your first real code review. It comes back with 14 inline comments. You fix every one. You resubmit. 3 more appear. You fix those too. Your first performance cycle arrives. Your manager says you are meeting expectations. You thought you were exceeding them. You find out that meeting expectations at this level is the floor, not the ceiling. The ceiling exists somewhere above you. Nobody will tell you exactly where it is or how to reach it. You will spend the next 2 years trying to find it by watching the people who already have. You reload the production dashboard the day your feature ships. The metric moves 0.3%. You stare at it for a while. Level 3. The grinder. You have been here long enough to have opinions. Long enough that the new hires ask you questions. Long enough that your desk has a coffee mug on it that belongs there now, not just sitting there temporarily. You own a feature end to end for the first time. Not just the code, the design document, the rollout plan, the stakeholder sign-off. You write the spec. You get it reviewed. A staff engineer reads it and sends it back with a comment that says, updated a few things. You open the document. They rewrote the architecture section. Completely. The comment says, a few things. You mentor the L3s and the interns without being asked. Nobody assigned this to you. It shows up in your performance review if you don't do it. You start thinking in half quarters. You start building relationships with engineers on other teams whose systems touch yours. You stop thinking about the code and start thinking about the people around the code. The promotion to senior takes 4 years. Some people wait longer. Some people stop waiting and leave. You watch a few of them go. You stay. The promotion comes. You act like you knew it would the whole time. Level 4. The senior. You booked this conference room yourself. You called this meeting yourself. That is new. 6 engineers are in the room. 2 of them have been at the company longer than you. They are looking at you to start. You set technical direction now, not just for your feature, for a system. You write the design document that determines how your team builds things for the next 18 months. You are the technical voice in product meetings. You sit next to the PM and the designer, and you are the one who says what is possible and what is not. When you say something is not possible, people write it down. Below you, L3s come to you with problems. You sketch solutions in 90 seconds. They look at you like you performed a trick. You remember when that felt like magic to you too. Above you, a director overrides your recommendation in a review without discussion and moves on. You write it down. You bring the receipts next time. The L5 conversation starts. Your manager mentions the staff track in the elevator. It's going to require a different kind of impact, they say. You have been thinking about almost nothing else for 6 months. Level 5. The staff. You have 3 meetings before 10. A product strategy session, a technical roadmap review, and a one-on-one with a senior engineer you are informally sponsoring. Nobody assigned you the sponsorship. You took it on because that is what staff engineers do. The invisible work. The work between the work. Your job is no longer measured by what you build. It is measured by what you make possible. You write a 24-page technical strategy document. It takes 6 weeks. Leadership reads it in 11 minutes. It changes how 30 engineers work for the next 2 years. Your personal code output this quarter is the lowest it has been since you were an intern. You feel strange about this. You are doing your job correctly. You influence without authority. You have no direct reports. You change how entire teams build systems through documentation, design standards, and conversations in hallways that people remember months later. Senior engineers come to you before they come to their managers. That is a privilege and a burden in equal measure. A VP overrides your technical recommendation publicly. You were right. 2 months later, the project fails exactly the way you said it would. The post-mortem does not mention your recommendation. You write the lessons learned section anyway. Level 6. The manager. You have 4 one-on-ones this morning, back to back. Glass-walled room on the 3rd floor. Your notebook is full of things you are not allowed to tell anyone. You wrote 0 lines of production code this quarter. You feel guilty about this every day, and you are not sure you should stop feeling guilty. Your job now is the people. You run performance cycles, career conversations, and hiring loops. You translate what leadership wants into what engineers can build. You sit in the strategy meetings and absorb the decisions that cannot be shared yet. Then you go back downstairs and manage the anxiety of 8 people who can sense that something is coming without knowing what. The hard conversations find you, a technically excellent engineer who is making the team worse. A performance issue that started as a coaching problem and has become a documentation problem and will eventually become an HR problem. 6 months of work before anything changes. Nobody warned you about this part. Your own performance review arrives. High impact, but your team's retention is a concern. One of your best engineers left last month for a competitor. You knew it was coming. You were not allowed to fix the thing that drove them out. You accept the calendar invite for the director conversation. You clear the conflict to make it work. Level 7. The director. You are at a leadership offsite in a hotel conference room. 10 people around the table. Everyone has a director title or above. There is a slide deck on the wall that represents 6 months of your team's work. You present the roadmap. The VP changes the top priority in real time, in front of everyone. You smile. You take notes. You figure out how to rebuild the roadmap on the flight home. You manage the people who manage the engineers. The distance from the code is 2 full layers now. Your job is organizational design, and the organization is always broken in at least 3 ways. You own a product area, 40 engineers, 4 managers, a budget that sounds large until you see how fast headcount consumes it. You make decisions that affect people's livelihoods using incomplete information on a quarterly deadline. You tell a manager of 7 years that their role is being restructured. The meeting takes 22 minutes. You have 4 more meetings that afternoon. A recruiter calls your VP. Your name came up for a VP role at a company 2 sizes larger. Your VP mentions it over coffee. Casual. 1 sentence. Just thought you should know. You think about it the whole drive home. Level 8. The VP. Hundreds of engineers. Billions in revenue responsibility. A direct line to the CEO that you have used twice this week and would rather not have needed to use at all. You run the multi-year strategy for a major business surface. You present to the board. You translate the deeply technical into the language of people who stopped reading code in 2003 and need to vote on whether to fund the next 3 years of it. When the quarterly numbers are amber, you are the one who explains them. When a competitor ships something you should have shipped first, the first question in the executive review is about your roadmap. Your chief of staff messages you at 11 at night. CEO wants a reforecast by 8 in the morning. You close the book. You open the laptop. You stopped being a person somewhere around here. You became a position. Your name appears in press coverage when the product fails, in open letters when employees organize, in board conversations when the stock moves. The people who congratulate you after a good earnings call are people whose faces you can no longer place. You set the phone face down. You open next quarter's planning document. It is already behind. Level 9. The CEO. The room goes quiet before you reach the microphone. 1,000 people. That silence used to feel like respect. Now, it just feels like distance. You are testifying before a Senate committee. The senator asking the question does not understand the product. You have to answer honestly, carefully, and in a way that every regulator on 3 continents, 60,000 employees, and the open internet will parse for subtext. You choose every word the way a surgeon chooses an instrument. You fly home and read the coverage. They got it half right. You have learned not to correct them. You make the calls nobody else can make. The $10 billion bet on a product that will not return value for 4 years, if ever. The executive you have to let go who has been your closest ally at this company for a decade. The apology for something that happened 3 levels below you that you did not know about until it was on the front page. Below you, every person in the organization. Above you, the board, the regulators, the market, and the version of history that is already being written about what you built and what it cost. You cannot walk into a coffee shop. You cannot have a conversation that is not strategic. You cannot be wrong in public without it moving a stock price. You cannot be human in public without it becoming content. A motorcade, a private terminal, a security detail that knows your patterns better than your family does. You land in a city you have been to 40 times. Your assistant hands you the briefing document for the next 72 hours. 14 meetings, 3 countries, 1 decision that will affect 200,000 jobs. You turn to the window. The city is lit up and indifferent. You built some of this. You open the document. You start reading.